Hideous Energy, episode 151.
Hopefully it didn't record me snorting through my nose insanely hard.
It was just cocaine.
Cocaine.
We do cocaine before every show. We also have a small Bible study while we do the cocaine.
We do.
We're conflicted people.
We're tripping balls on God.
On Christ. Hideous Energy, we're a comic book podcast where we talk about other stuff. I am your co-host, David.
I'm Austin.
We are here to rock your socks off.
Yep.
And then put them back on delicately and with love.
We take care of you, our listeners.
We want to make sure that you feel good.
Also, we've got a creepy
Emotionally,
foot fetish.
physically. Yeah, but let us jerk off on your feet. Most of all.
But please let us touch your naked feet.
You can find us online at hideousenergy.com. That takes you to Fanoff, which is our host site. They host a lot of other podcasts, including ours. So go there and check out if you like wrestling. They've got a sweet wrestling podcast. Actually, if you like wrestling and podcasts, you've probably heard their show because it's one of the bigger wrestling podcasts.
That's no shit.
Ever.
Yeah, he's not joking. If you like wrestling and podcasts, then you know what we're talking about.
RBR. There's Generation Animation. There's all kinds of stuff on there, so check it out. You can find all of our shows to download and listen to there if you like.
Not all of them.
What about on Fanoff?
No. Fanoff only goes back to episode number 121, I think.
Oh, did we check?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That day that I posted that note on Facebook, because on Fanoff, David posts the show and he'll have the title and then he'll have like a little tagline. I wrote down every single tagline he ever wrote, which is him both apologizing a lot. He also says something plus something equals this other thing. He does that a few times.
I see. I'm going to stop doing all those things. It's all subconscious.
Oh, yeah, you didn't pay attention.
Because I've never, ever looked at anything I've written before.
So I was reading all those and writing them down. That's on Facebook if you want to check that out. But fanoff.com only goes back to episode like 121, which was...
Does our blog go back all the way?
The blog has from, it's like episode 1 up to 80-something.
So there's like a 20-episode gap where you can't get those episodes?
No, you can find all of the episodes. I made sure. So... I can't.
So where's the middle 20?
It might be on Fanoff. I might be misremembering how far it goes back.
Between hideousenergy.blogspot.com and hideousenergy.com, you can listen to all 150 episodes before this one. Plus, interviews. There's a bunch of interviews that we've done with such people as, blanking on every name now. It's hard to say Robert Kirkman.
Emmy Lennox,
Doug Jones, just list all the very first interviews we ever did.
No,
Fred Chow.
I think that's one of the very first very like earliest shows on Fanoff. That
Joshua Hale Fieldcov was
a lot of people we've had. I did the math, and even though last week we recorded our 150th episode, which makes this week our 151st, we've actually recorded right around 175, 178 actual Hideous Energy shows.
And the other ones have been interviews?
Yeah.
Or no, specials?
All of that. That includes the interviews and the specials.
Yeah.
That's 178, I think. Yeah. So,
I don't know what that noise means.
It sounded like you were intrigued and maybe you had some sort of secret.
I do.
Oh, do you?
That's that I love you.
That's not a secret.
I mean, it isn't now.
Oh.
So check out those episodes. Also, if you're in the mood to buy some comics, which I have to confess, in the past less than 24 hours, I have succumbed to temptation 4 separate times and bought comic books online.
Seriously? What'd you get?
Yes.
It's like that day I came to your house and you were like, I bought donuts, and I was like, I ate one on the way here.
Last night, Amanda and I got into an argument. I retreated into the back room angrily and looked at Amazon and bought Parker, the new Parker graphic novel.
Even though
I haven't read.
You've been waiting for me to read it to tell you.
I did. Well, finally, I looked up reviews and they were like, it's super good and it's way better than the second one. I was like, that's all I need to know.
That's it.
And then...
well, dude, just based off of what I did read, it was better than the second one. The like 6 pages I read.
And then I bought Boxers and Saints.
God damn it, I want to read that.
And then I bought Liar's Kiss. That we've looked at it before. That Oni graphic novel. It's like super noirish. It's like pink, black, and white cover.
It's not ringing any bells right now.
We've looked at it before. You would recognize the cover. Eric Skillman wrote it. I just lettered a comic that he wrote for Fearless Future, that online anthology. I had no idea it was him.
Did you?
I did. He's also a designer for Criterion.
Is he really?
Yeah, and then he writes comics too.
What else has he written? His name sounds really familiar.
Those are the
Skillman.
Those are the only two things. Those are the only two things.
Where are
the most pretentious
where are my
anger.
boating shoes?
Those are the two things I didn't realize he was that dude, because I've picked up that Liar's Kiss book a couple different times.
Liar's Kiss.
And never bought it, but I finally bought it. And then there was something else, and I don't remember what it is now. I bought Luther Strode the other day, the first trade, because it was cheap.
Really?
Yeah, and it's actually better than I remembered. At the end, he does a couple things where I'm like, all right, man, this is Mark Miller like shock territory.
Oh yeah,
but the rest of it's pretty fun.
I liked what I read of Luther Strode, but it was one of those things where
The art's super good.
The art's fantastic. It's my favorite part of the book. It was just one of those things where I knew that there wasn't going to be a lot going forward.
Well, he says that in the intro. Like, he talks about how it's basically like a horror comic mixed with like ultra violence. Like, yeah, that's his aim. So if you go into it with that mindset, it's pretty enjoyable. But I mean, don't expect Watchmen.
No, it is the
what a blurb.
Don't expect Watchmen.
Hideous Energy. What I was going to say though is that Liar's Kiss book, where we looked at it, was Discount Comic Book Service, who
they
sponsors our
us.
podcast.
That's what you're calling a callback.
I'm calling it a callback.
For years.
So check out dcbservice.com. Like I said, they sponsor our show.
Yep, they sure do.
So if you want to get some comics, buy them through them. We have a special code that you can use if you've never used it. If you have used it, it won't work again, so don't be a sneaky...
Don't be a sneaky
guy. It's Hideous 8, HIDEOUS, and the number 8. One-time use only, so if it doesn't go through, it's because you're a liar and a douchebag. You're not.
No, the douchebag,
potentially bad internet connection as well. It doesn't mean you're a douchebag.
It might mean you're a liar, and
maybe
you might have to redirect your life from that point.
Yeah.
But you know what? You're welcome. Not only will we put your socks on delicately, but we tell you liar now.
Yeah. We have to tell you liar now.
Lost language there for a second.
DCBService.com. Check that out. Is that it?
They're on Twitter, so go there. You can find us on Twitter at Hideous Energy. David has his own account, DC_Hopkins. I have my own account, Austin R. Wilson. Also, David's lettering stuff. So there's all kinds of fantastic stuff you can read. We don't talk about it too much, but we both have work up on readchallenger.com. That's spelled read like you would read a book, READ.
Yeah.
The word Challenger, it's all together. There's no hyphens or anything. Go there. My short, Ribbon C, illustrated by Lowell Isaac, and lettered by David is up there. David's got some other lettering work that's either been posted or will be posted there soon, so check that stuff out. I just wrote a short story that got published by a website called Punchnulls. If you go to punchnulls.com, you can either search for my name, Austin Wilson, or search for Thin Man Little Bird, or even just search for Mythic Indy. I'm published in the anthology of mythological stories about the city of Indianapolis. And like I said, my story is called Thin Man Little Bird. So if you want to check that out, go to punchnulls.com. Spelled punch, like I'm going to punch you. And then you add an NELS on the end of it. And then .com. And then you like hit enter or click go.
Okay, man.
That's how internet works.
It's not.
It is.
Read 'em and weep.
Well, if you stuck around, that means you either were not offended by our jokes about not being able to read last week, or you can read.
I thought you meant through the intro. If you stuck around through the intro, it means you're not offended by jokes about masturbation, or you like getting cum on your feet.
I don't know that those are the only two options.
I guess you could be offended but want to stick with it, which at this point, maybe you've realized your mistake.
Maybe. That might have done it for you. If this is your first episode.
Every day at work, every Tuesday at work, I'm like, man, I can't wait till tonight when I'm talking about coming.
Just all day long, you have this urge that you can't say anywhere else.
First book up, Batman Black and White #2 from DC Comics. First thing... What?
It's an anthology.
Yeah, we reviewed the first issue like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
We did.
The first thing we should point out is that the cover is awesome.
It is.
It's by Steranko.
It's weird.
It's really weird. I don't understand why he has kind of a crown of thorns.
That's literally the first thing I was going to talk about.
Then there's jigsaw pieces.
And giant ants.
Yeah, none of it really makes sense, but it's awesome.
I'm sure it makes sense to Steranko in whatever fucking multicolored, like, pop art world he lives in.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to figure out. I'm wondering if that crown of thorns is actually part of his costume, because his like arm spikies are a little bit more
spiky,
like stylized.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Maybe Steranko's like, when I want Batman to headbutt a dude, I want that guy to die.
It might have
I
been
want
that,
headbutt murders.
or he was like, I want him to be Jesus Christ.
I feel like Batman's real name is Jesus Christ.
Yeah, go with me here, Didio.
And they're like, what's with the ants? And he's like, umbrellas. And it just scurries away.
They're like, Steranko, we really need this piece from you. And he's like, I love 500-piece puzzles.
He explodes into a dust cloud of cocaine. Just vanishes.
He's the mummy, but with cocaine. He's like, I knocks on the
moon.
And then he turns into a dust cloud of cocaine. Yeah. Oh, Jim Steranko, we love you.
There's 5. Yep. There's 5 stories in this. I read these last week and potentially didn't even read the last one, so go with me.
Yeah, well, I read them right before I got here. We'll see if our perceptions of them are the similar ones.
The first one is Man Bat Out of Hell. It's by Dan DiDio and illustrated by J.G. Jones.
Yes.
Which, first of all...
Sweet mommy Jummy, is this art good looking.
J.G. Jones, one of my favorite artists. And that dude, it doesn't really seem like he works all that much.
He does covers
anymore
more than anything.
But see, even recently, his cover, like he did all of the 52
covers.
News
52? Or
no. The Good 52.
Wait, what do you mean?
It was called 52.
Oh, yeah.
The series.
Well, didn't he do the covers to...
he did almost... He did a
Morrison, what the hell is the name of the story?
Marvel Boy?
No.
He did the art for that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking of.
He did a lot of covers for Why the Last Man, too.
Yeah, he did.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
J.G. Jones, this art is amazing.
It
Absolutely
once again
breathtaking.
There's some, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's in my old age, I'm getting some wisdom at the ripe old age of 24.
Yeah.
To where there's some comic books where I'm starting to have to, not have to, but I'm starting to make a conscious decision to view it differently.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is one of those books where I'm like, all right, I'm going to look at it almost like I was reading that Creepy Presents Richard Corbin hardcover the other night.
Yeah.
And with that, like 3 stories in, I'm like, all right, you know what? Mm-hmm. Either I can just stop reading them.
Yes.
Or
Change.
I can read it and just kind of know what I'm going with. Because I'm going to buy more of those creepy and eerie volumes.
Uh-huh. But you know what they're going to be for you.
Well, I'm going to pick out
the
decades to where, like, Wally Wood was in there.
Yep.
And Steranko even,
Classics.
and Bernie Wrightson, and that stuff for the art. And this is kind of the same.
This is absolutely a book that, after reading the first one, which I don't know why this never is a very obvious and the very first thing that I do with an anthology.
Just prepare yourself for crap.
No, you have to. Like, at least for me. And as after we read issue 1, and some of the travesties that were in it.
Well, dude, I had my thumb hovering over the pledge button on that Kickstarter. It's like Out of the Dark or something. It's a horror anthology from a ton of people.
Oh, yeah.
And I was going to pledge to it
Yep.
Because of all the names and everything. And then at the last second, I was like, it's an anthology. What am I thinking?
Man. It's almost worse than a coin toss.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a coin that...
Which I wish all the
might
best for them,
be
but...
a trick coin.
Yeah.
Like, it might be a two-sided...
You flip it and it never lands.
No, or it lands right on the fucking edge and just stands there.
Yeah.
Because going into this, I knew that there were going to be stories that I was either completely pissed off that they were in front of me.
Like that Neil Adams story.
Yes. And there wasn't anything anything in this issue as bad as that. Although this one, the DiDio one with J.G. Jones's art, I don't give a fuck that there are words in these panels. I don't care.
I want to think that my preconceived notions about Dan DiDio as a businessman didn't influence me reading this. But the whole time I was just like, this is so bad.
No, the writing's awful. It's terrible. The dialogue's terrible.
It has this really, really lame Twilight Zone-esque twist to where there's someone narrating the story and you assume that it's Batman, but then you find out halfway through that it's actually Man-Bat's kids, and Man-Bat's kids were protecting them from like a child molester dude.
Man-Bat was protecting his kids from the child molester dude. That twist right there.
That's not terrible.
No, that twist that it's not Batman narrating the story was good.
The problem I had, if I remember correctly, is that Batman, once he realizes it, basically realizes it all out loud.
No, that's exactly. I was turning pages to try and find the part where he's like, these pictures, they're of the children. Then he looks at the children and he's like, oh my gosh, children, your father is Man-Bat.
Yeah,
He says it out loud to them.
It's very expositioning.
Yeah, expositional. It's awful.
Yeah,
Dialogue's awful.
Sucks.
The narration
Then
is not that bad.
Fights the real Slim Shady.
He does fight the real Slim Shady. It's like a mix between Jamie Kennedy and Eminem.
Yeah. Oh, that art's so good.
I don't know, man. The art is amazing, and this story absolutely has to be viewed because of the art, because it is absolutely breathtaking.
I'm not joking, dude. They could have released this story silent.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
And it would have worked.
I thought that about a couple of them in this. In this case, there was a couple things that stuck out to me, other than the art being as amazing as it is. Story-wise, it's obviously very, very lackluster and pretty, not content-less, but...
Do you think it's not impossible, because it's obviously not impossible, but do you think that it's way, way, way harder for them to do a gripping story? And like, do you think that there's a chance that we're going to read a story in one of these issues that's going to be really good?
A gripping story?
I just use an adjective. Like,
well, no, like, to answer that question, like, is it harder for them to do a gripping story? Yes. Like, in this tiny...
Do you think we'll see a good story in one? Because even in the last issue, it basically ranged from pretty awful to, like,
all right,
at the best, okay.
Yeah, there's stories in this issue.
And this issue was kind of the same way, if I remember the same.
There's stuff I like in this issue, but it's things that are using this shorter medium where you're literally telling like a 5 or 6, maybe 8-page story.
Yeah.
There are things that are genres that don't rely on these storylines where you have to have not a 3-act structure, but like you have to use character arc, and you have to deliver the information to the reader in a pretty like a way where it doesn't feel forced, where you're not like turning the corner and then Batman's like, your father's Man-Bat. Like that's how you reveal the plot, is by having one of the characters shout it at me. Yeah. That's not good. But it's because if you're trying to write a story like you said that's gripping, it is really hard. It's not impossible, I don't think.
But that Dark Horse lawsuit story
that dude
would have been perfect.
I'm not kidding you. As soon as you said that, I thought about that Dark Horse Noir book.
I'm trying to remember what the name of that story is.
It's by Ba and Moon, isn't it?
I think Brian Azzarello wrote it, and then one of them
Ba and Moon drew it.
It's called like A Bad Night or Bad Night or something like that.
It's about Bruce's parents.
That's a criminal volume. That's not what it's called.
It's something like that. It's about Bruce's parents getting killed.
Well, it's about the one or two dudes that are going to go kill him.
Yeah.
But it's in a Dark Horse volume. Like, it's very clearly about Batman.
It's a Batman story.
But they don't never say anything.
It's amazing. And it would fit into this anthology.
That's the kind of stuff I want to see. But I can tell, especially with when the first iteration of Batman Black and White, Mark Chiarello, however you say his name, editing, and it kind of being his project, that seems very much more focused on art.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And production, which is the same way that Solo series was that he did too. The writing in that, if it appears, it's usually okay. But
that's why I think it is possible to tell a gripping story in a very short medium like this. But also, one thing that I kept thinking of, especially at the beginning of this story when I thought that Batman was the one doing the narration, is with characters like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, maybe Wonder Woman to a certain extent, maybe not really based on what I'm about to say, you're kind of just giving me variations on themes, which are basically variations on all of these very famous stories that we know about them.
Yeah.
Like Azzarello's story in that
origin,
noir,
but from a different perspective.
Yeah, you're literally just basically like shifting the camera to look this other way.
Yeah.
And while that can be interesting, I think after a certain point, for me to be interested in a character like Batman, I know his parents got killed. I know it fucked him up psychologically. Like, I know all these things.
Yeah.
So after a certain point, there's going to have to be some other kind of shift within the story for it to hook me.
They should have put Josh Simmons' Batman story in here, where he like takes that giant mouth hole punch and punches a homeless man's lips out.
You know what? I mean, that's an interesting Batman story. And for that, like that, to not be dependent upon Bruce's heavy-handed, like, expositional dialogue, or you're not having to read all of these captions where he's like, this reminds me of the time I was running through the wheat field back in Kentucky, or some shit like that, which can work, but after a while you're just like, yeah, I know, man, like, You're Batman. You're fucking crazy.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, like we get it. I'm Batman. You need a lozenge. We all understand.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, not the lozenge thing, but the variations on a theme, because the next story by Rafael Grampa is basically that.
Well, before we move on to that, I wanted to talk about one last thing with the J.G. Jones DiDio thing.
DiDio's ruined DC. What's I going to say?
I know, it's like variations on Hideous Energy theme.
I'm just being a dick.
It's me and you repeating ourselves ad nauseum.
He didn't ruin DC. It was him and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, they all did it together. It was
Group
packed.
effort.
No, but did you read it that Batman was like, oh, that guy's a child molester? Yeah, kill him.
Like I said, I read it a week ago. I guess I probably would have remembered if he was like murder him.
Well, he doesn't say kill him, but Man-Bat seems particularly set on murder.
He doesn't stop a murder.
No, he
says
literally
I won't.
lets him go. And Batman says some really heavy-handed shit. He literally says out loud. It would be fine if this was like a thought balloon or a caption. He says out loud, "I've been fighting the wrong monster."
Yeah.
Out loud.
Yeah.
Like, where do you think the camera is, Bruce? Who's watching you? But then he lets Man-Bat literally, like, I think, kill this guy.
Yeah, I think he kills him because the guy's screaming and then his scream is cut short. He either killed him or ripped Alpha's mouth. So maybe it is a Josh Simmons story.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then he had sex with the wound hole.
If it was a Josh Simmons story.
Yeah.
No, did that stick with you at all? Or
I honestly didn't pay that close attention to it where I immediately was like, oh, that dude's dead. I do remember noticing that he basically didn't intervene when Man-Bat was about to probably rip this guy apart. Did this guy touch his kids?
That's the sense that I got, yeah. I don't know. He didn't imply that he touched them. He
I kinda
absolutely
can't,
implied that he took pictures of them.
I kind of can't believe that.
And not even implied it. They show.
That not only was this allowed, but Dan DiDio wrote it. Like, there's a Batman story where some kids get molested.
And then Batman lets the person who molested them get murdered in
Yeah.
the same room.
Yeah. Well, all right, whatever.
Their dad is a giant Man-Bat, and he lets that thing murder this guy in front of his kids.
Oh, yeah, I would say that he does because he cuts Man-Bat loose to go kill him.
Yeah, and that's when he says, "I've been fighting the wrong monster."
Yeah.
Thanks, man. We weren't sure what you were getting at.
Yeah, I guess kill him. Maybe the most ironic thing about all of this is that Batman doesn't have the lines on the front of his costume in the New 52 style.
That is pretty ironic. Also ironic that Dan DiDio shows absolutely no grasp of this character that his company banks on. But, he doesn't sit down in this, at least. So, good job, Dan.
Yeah, he doesn't know how. Batman can't
nailed that one.
Yeah. Next story up is by Rafael Grampa, who is in my probably top 5 favorite artists of all time. He's so good.
He is, in fact, amazing.
The story, it's okay. It's okay to the twist, which I didn't like at all, which was a lot like Damon Lindelof's twist in that Batman anthology that they did.
If you're going to write a Batman story, do me a favor. Don't make Alfred anything other than the butler. Just get the fuck out of here.
The twist at the end is that Alfred is dressed up like the Joker, and the whole story starts with the Joker, right?
Yeah. This is literally entrapment. Literally.
Yeah. You mean Bat-trapment?
Oh, shit.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they get there, and Batman beats them all into comas.
No, I don't get it.
And then Alfred wipes the makeup off.
These motherfuckers didn't even think about going to rob Wayne Manor until Alfred, dressed up like the Joker, was like, you should rob Wayne Manor.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense either, because Batman could have just easily just shown up when he was talking to them and beat him up there and saved a lot of time.
All Joker
and money on like makeup.
Yeah. I mean, like that. Well, I mean, they might have a deal or something with like Halloween World or like Spencer Gifts.
I mean, I guess he's Bruce Wayne, doesn't really need to save money.
Yeah.
Well, the art, especially for Joker, is one of the most just creepiest and disgusting things I've ever seen the Joker look like.
Well, at first I thought it was the like brand new 52 bullshit where his face is like scarred.
Yeah.
But you see once you get up closer to the Joker's face that he has painted teeth onto his mouth.
Like Norman Osborn.
Yeah, it is. It's like that, and it is really fucking creepy.
Yeah, it's disgustingly creepy. I mean, I could talk about the art for a really long time. I won't. It's amazing.
This is yet another story that could have been printed completely silently. In fact, I am going to plead with you, DC.
Silently, and then also could have just lost the panel where Alfred wipes it off. That would have made the story a million times better if I just thought it was the Joker.
If they ended with a close-up on the Joker's face.
Yeah, because that would make sense for the Joker to basically just I mean, it's like he said, he's a dog in the Dark Knight. He's a dog chasing his tail. He doesn't know what to do
Doesn't
if he
know
were
what
to
to do
caught
if
it.
he get it, yeah.
Just chaos, just like sending people in there and whatever else.
If DC were to give me the option to buy this, maybe only digitally,
the art's so
without any word balloons, I would almost 100% get that above
with the word balloons.
Above the word balloons.
Yeah.
Just because these issues are so rooted in the art, the illustrations.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I like Grompa. Obviously, I don't like him as much as you do, because I like Mesmo Delivery, but also not as much as you do. But it's just, there were times where his captions were just total fucking nonsense.
That guy's
Just
face is
exploding.
exploding.
Batman is elbowing a man's face so hard
It's turning into spaghetti.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like noodles are coming out of his face, and it's awesome. It is awesome.
Oh man,
Grandpa's art it's some of the best stuff that's currently being done. It's absolutely fucking amazing.
I love how he does that. He does it in Mesmo Delivery a lot with song lyrics. He does like it looks like a sound effect, but it just says the Batman.
Oh yeah, it's literally
Batman.
Batman standing in front of the words "the Batman."
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
His-
Is he kicking a hole through that dude's chest?
Probably, yeah.
I think he is.
Wait, I think that might just be the like energy, because that's that guy's fist.
Yeah, I know, but I mean that's his jacket tearing.
Maybe.
So either he kicked a guy's a hole in his body,
What?
or he hit him so
Seriously?
hard that the back of his clothes
Seriously,
ripped.
think about how fucked up this is. Alfred's dressed up like the Joker. He tricks 3 fucking dumbasses into going to a place they weren't even planning.
Batman elbows a guy's
Murders
face
them.
into
He
spaghetti.
murders them. Kicks a guy's
Al dente.
chest open. Now you're a door and a window. Like, the fucking worst shit he could do to these people. Ugh.
Oh, it's great.
It's amazing to look at.
Man, this book, like issue 1 and 2, but I honestly, it's so hard to rate it, but you should buy it for the art.
100%.
the art's
yeah.
so good.
Oh, yeah. If you're buying this, it's not to read anything. It's to look at these pictures.
Okay, so story 3, written and illustrated by Raphael Albuquerque.
Another of our favorites.
Yeah, the art's amazing. I didn't read this.
Yeah.
Do I not need to ever?
It's,
Well, it starts off with him on the river Styx.
yeah.
That was about where I lost interest in it, I think.
Well, no,
where I was like, if this isn't real, I don't care. If he really is on the river Styx, I don't know that I care either.
That's an interesting concept to me. Because would Batman go to heaven or hell? Like, I don't know.
But I don't think that he doesn't take you to heaven or hell. He takes you to,
Purgatory.
I think, takes you to the afterlife.
Yeah.
Like death.
Well, in this, at the very beginning, he's basically saying you're in purgatory, and it's Dead Man, it's Boston Brand.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. See?
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
So, it's...
Maybe I should have read more.
Well, don't worry. Because this revisits the whole Jason Todd thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is he just upset that Jason Todd died?
Well, it's...
Who's that tiny man that he's
that's
punching?
That's a fake, like, Joker facsimile that turns out to be a little boy that he killed because he punched him in the face so hard.
That is there's so much bat murder in this issue.
And then Batman literally says, I didn't even punch him that hard. And Dead Man's like, what the fuck ever, he's dead. Like, there's the proof. And then that's when Batman's like, you said the word fear. And then the twist is that it's the Scarecrow.
Oh, Scarecrow.
Yeah.
I think I do remember seeing the end. Man, that page is sweet.
It's the art in it is absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And that's about it.
Next story I also didn't read. Written by Jeff Lemire, illustrated by Alex Nino. It doesn't have a little thing on the top. So
This is the Neil Adams story of this book.
I noticed after I read the first page that there were no panels and it was just total nonsense. So I think I stopped.
The art looks almost completely unfinished. This looks like he did it with maybe one marker and was maybe
that page is cool.
that's sort of Jack Kirby-esque.
That thing's sweet.
Kind of big Kirby machine.
Yeah.
Maybe sort of looks like storyboards for a film that are just about as loosely put down as possible.
I don't know that I dislike the dude's style. I don't know that he's a bad artist. I think
I don't think he's a bad artist, but I think this story looks completely
it
unfinished.
just looks messy.
Yeah.
It's hard to know where to go.
There's almost no definition to a lot of the panels, to a lot of the images within the panels.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff you see, it literally is just this giant mass, like this messy
Just
bunch
black
of lines.
Yeah.
This does have, I
That
think,
looks like Mobius.
yeah, it does. There's a line in this story which was written by Jeff Lemire that was my favorite line in the entire book, where obviously Batman's talking about his parents being killed because he never fucking shuts up about it.
Where do you want to eat, Bruce? My parents are dead.
Mask of Zorro. Like, what? That Antonio Banderas movie? Shut up.
It's way better than you're thinking.
He's just dick. No, but he says something about eating with his parents, or I forget what he fucking says, but he's like, that was, or maybe it was, he was digging tunnels in the snow with his dad. And that was the summer before he was born. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, as Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
because
it.
when I read it, I was like,
what?
you're crazier than I thought.
Thomas
oh,
is
wait a
pushing
second.
his wife's pregnant belly around in the
Yeah.
snow.
When he said that, I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like that line in Batman Beyond.
It is. And then the rest of this is pretty forgetful.
Okay.
It doesn't remember things. Forgettable is what I meant to say.
And then the last one is written by Michael Uslan, right? Uslan?
Yeah.
Uslan. And illustrated by Dave Bullock.
Uh-huh.
I didn't read this one. Okay, here's the thing.
It's Darwin Cook-esque art style.
Darwin Cook-esque. I do like how they did it as a silent film. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it also kind of seems like it's also not important
Meh.
in any way. Is it any good?
Not really.
Okay.
It's very fun to look at.
Okay.
Very fun to look at.
He draws a cool Batman. I like
He does draw a
the
very
Satan,
cool Batman.
the Satan ears.
The Satan ears sounds like a football team.
Or a band. He does. Yeah, he does the Satan ears like like Darwin Cook
like
does
Darwin
in
Cook.
The New Frontier.
Yeah. The style is again, it's not completely black and white because there's some fucking gray tones and
Yeah.
but whatever. It's just fantastic looking stuff. It's something you have to see, and whether or not you want to buy it in single issues or you want to wait until the trade comes out, that's up to you. I wouldn't get this in single issues, other than the single issue we have.
Yeah.
Just because the amount of content that this delivers to me and the amount of enjoyment I get out of it is a very quick thing.
Yeah. Well, a trade would be good.
A trade would be good, but also, I don't know, Will. We've talked about it a lot in the past, but like having a trade where I'm literally just going to pick it up and then be like, all this art's great, and then that's it.
Yeah. I for me, it ultimately has always boiled down to how much I do like the art.
Yeah.
Because if I know I'm never going to look at it again, then yeah.
Yeah, because I have books that I have almost just for the art.
Oh, I definitely do. Some of them I didn't know when I bought it that it was going to be that.
Yeah.
But then I still liked enough to keep and not sell. But then there's been others like King City. I bought that basically for the art. I knew I had read enough of that to know that Marmoset there'd be days like this, and I was like, okay.
That's one of the better puns.
Your art is pretty,
and
I will stay with you.
in that book. What would you give this? What would you rate this impossibly hard book to rate?
No, I mean, I would give it like, obviously through all the context that you've heard us talking about, we're looking at it from a pretty purely artistic point of view.
Yeah.
That being the case, I'd give it like a 7.5.
Yeah.
Maybe even an 8, just based off of the art.
Yeah.
If you're looking for story, though, I mean, I could rate it. It'd be like a 3 or a 2, which sounds very, very harsh and unfair, and it's not fair. But you have to know if you want a Batman story.
If you're looking for something,
this
for
is not the book.
Story.
Yeah.
Good. Look elsewhere, my friends.
Yeah.
If you want some sweet fucking art,
Yeah.
this is the book
Very
for
good
you. I would give it a 6.
Next issue has stories by Lee Bermejo, Damian Scott, Marv Wolfman, and Riccardo Burchielli, who is the dude from TMZ, I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
Ryan Hughes, who is one of the best graphic designers of all time, and I'm pretty pumped about that. I didn't even know he did comic book art.
I'm pumped for the next person.
And Paul Dini and Stephanie Rue,
Yes.
who did
Please.
Madame Xanadu, right?
No.
Didn't she do that?
No, that was Amy.
Amy Reeder.
Amy Reeder.
What did this girl do?
She might have. I don't know. Amy Reeder didn't do all of Madame Xanadu, but she did a lot of it.
Yeah, I know. Who is this?
I don't know.
Oh, so what are you excited about?
Paul Dini.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Stephanie Rue.
No.
Oh.
No.
Sorry, Stephanie.
I was talking about Paul Dini. I'm sure Stephanie's good.
Next book up is Captain America, Living Legend #1. I had never even heard of this book or that it was coming out until it came out. It's written by Andy Diggle. Well, the story's by Andy Diggle and Adi Granov, and the script's by Andy Diggle, illustration by Adi Granov. I didn't love this, but I didn't hate it either. I'm interested to see where it goes because of the third act jump.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I'm pretty interested to see where it goes. I like Adi Granov's art.
Man, I do too. I didn't, back when I first saw it, I was like, when he draws people, I don't like them because he draws a sweet Iron Man.
He does draw a sweet fucking Iron Man.
But not only do I think he's gotten better, but
he has gotten better, but also every once in a while his faces look really plasticky. And I don't mean motionless, but like they are actually plastic.
No, they do, and that's his style. I mean, that's his style to an extent. Or I don't know. Does he color his stuff? Who colored this?
I don't know. We didn't give any of the credits.
It was lettered by Joe Caramagna. Yeah, he must color it too.
Yeah, there's an
because it's just him. Yeah, that makes sense because it's the same exact color.
It looks just
coloring
like
as
the rest
Extremis.
of his other stuff.
Yeah. It opens up in World War II, which I'm into, and it has Captain America back then. There's Russians fighting Nazis. It's basically toward the end of the war. Everybody knows that Zephyr is holed up in Poland. Is that what they say? I don't know.
Yeah, Zephyr is dying. Most important thing to note from the first half of this book is that Captain America chops the top of a tank off with his shield.
He throws a shield. He throws the shield through a tank.
and chops the top of a panzer
Which, when
off.
I first saw it, I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, he's Captain America.
Well, also, his shield's adamantium, so that's kind of one of those things where...
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, give me something that's adamantium. I can't chop something in half with it. Like, to me, it's not the...
How do I know?
To me, that it's not with a throw.
Well, yeah, maybe
Maybe
not.
if you give me a week, I sit there and hack at it. But like,
Everyone comes to an understanding.
Yeah.
If David can't
look,
cut
I'm
the
going
top
to do
of
this.
tank off
It's not
going to
be fast. There's also a part where the tank shoots him, and he blocks it with a shield and cracks a tree in half with his back.
He does.
So if you like all that and you like America, then you're going to like this.
Yeah. If you like the Zephyra, you're going to be upset. This isn't the book for you.
It's not about Hitler, no. Basically, what happens is there is a dude named Volkov.
Volkov.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Who is I honestly don't remember.
He's a soldier.
Is he a bad guy or a good guy?
Well, he's a soldier for the Russian army.
Is he the guy that disobeys his commanding officer?
He is, yeah.
Okay.
His CO tells him not to go into the breach, dear friends, and he does with the rest of his soldiers.
Well, he tells him, he's like, the war's over.
Yeah.
Like, go home. Like, go home to your families. And he's like, but I want to kill. I got a murder boner.
And Volkov's like, peace, fucker,
Yeah.
and then runs into battle with guns ablazing. So obviously a Nazi guy shoots him, and then you think he's going to die, but Captain America saves him.
Well, then they jump forward
That was what
20-some years.
That was what I didn't expect.
I didn't either. I liked that. I liked the idea that we suddenly were in the Soviet Union during the space, like the
Space race, yeah.
the space race.
60s.
That page is awesome.
No,
Him sitting in that chair.
It's fantastic.
So
it's
good.
great looking stuff.
So he's there, and you find out that he's on basically the first shuttle, and they've wiped his past in the army off of his record. Yeah.
Well, he's saying he makes sure to tell the reader. I don't think it's him. Someone says something about how Captain America saved his life.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be the first person on the moon in the 60s.
Yeah.
Whether or not they are going to completely rewrite history, I don't know.
Yeah. If they do, whatever.
Well, yeah, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Captain America chopped the top of a tank off with a frisbee, basically. So if he is the first person on the moon, either it wasn't reported or I don't know. What I think is it's going to fail. Is that he's not going to make it.
Right. And there's we then jump even more forward in time to quote unquote today is what it says. And there's more people up there on the moon, and then
they're not on the moon. They're in an international space station.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're not on the moon. Okay. What is it called? Like Zeus? It's a Zeus Deus. Oh yeah, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Reactor. Did the Russians build it, or were they respond? It's somehow connected to this giant machine, right?
To the International Space Station?
No. To the Deus reactor thing.
I think the Russians have built this machine to try and utilize dark matter to create energy. To basically do whatever they want with.
Yeah.
And obviously it's called Deus, which means God in Latin.
Yeah.
Which kind of heavy-handed because it almost sounds like they were like, it should be called Deus. Let's figure out an acronym that fits with the word Deus.
That was a joke on that Shield show.
Yeah, they were like, we really wanted our name to
or he
Shield.
said, he was like, what does that mean? And he's like, it sounds like you really wanted it to spell Shield.
Yeah, that's basically how this thing got its name, it sounds like.
It's called something. Dark Energy Utilization System.
Yeah. So just about as on the fucking nose as possible.
So basically, they're up on the ISS, and these weird, gross H.R. Giger tentacles come out and start kind of sexing their faces and murdering them. because of this explosion. So then you find out that Captain America meets up with Agent Carter, and she says that when the whole event happened, there was one word that the transmitters shot out, and it was Volkov.
Yeah. This has not been a review. This has been a recap of the issue. Hope you've enjoyed it.
I mean, the sex faces thing.
Was that a review?
Yeah, that's my review. One of my favorite parts of this issue is a full-page splash that Adi Granov likes so much that he signed it twice.
Did he really?
Did you notice that?
He signed it twice. Shut up.
There's two little symbols down there.
That's no shit.
So I thought that was kind of funny.
I really like this page. You motherfuckers are definitely going to know who did this page.
He's got a sweet signature.
Yeah, he does.
It's a little symbol.
Grompa did that too in black and white.
On 2 pages.
There was a couple pages
draws a little bat.
where I was like, oh, you really wanted us to know that you did this, even though we already knew that.
Yeah. You see artists do that every once in a while, and it cracks me up. I get it, especially on splash pages. Like, there's got to be a sense of accomplishment when you're done with it, to where you're like, I'm going to sign my name to this, because it is, rather than just 16 panels. It's a full page of art.
I don't know that I get it.
I get it. It's not necessary, or maybe they're thinking in terms of selling the page.
Well, yeah, but why would they have to print that then?
Oh, they don't have to print it.
It doesn't.
I'm talking about from the artist's perspective of signing it.
It doesn't compute to me for a couple of reasons, but it's fine. I mean, I'm not an artist. I'm a fucker.
I'll definitely read the next issue. I like Andy Diggle. This doesn't really read like anything he's ever done. It's kind of a standard.
Doesn't seem Diggle-ish.
No. It's a pretty standard kind of Captain America superhero sci-fi war shenanigans. It's way better than the Captain America comic that's on right now.
Really?
At least the first 2 issues I read. You read one of them. Rick Remender relaunched it with John Romita Jr.
Oh, man, it was bad.
Yeah, it sucked balls.
I
I only read 1 or 2 issues. Bradley Allen, my nemesis, over at Marvel 616 that we always argue about, he really likes it. I think maybe he hates it.
Doesn't he like all bad things?
Oh, he's awful. No, he does cosplay, dude. He does a ton of awesome cosplay. He sent me a picture on Facebook. That had a pretty sexy line on it. He typed "just for you." ... And there was a picture, but it was him as Miles in a Miles costume.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And I don't even think he likes Ultimate Spider-Man. I think I've seen him post a bunch of pictures on his Facebook with him. It sounds creepy. He's my age, but that means he couldn't be a child molester. But the pictures are him with kids. But he goes there for kids basically to pose pictures and stuff. Yeah, it's really cool. But he's like,
so is he like super skinny like Miles?
Yeah, I mean he looks.
Did it look like Miles?
He looks like a normal dude. He's white, so he doesn't look exactly like Miles.
That wasn't what I was asking, but that is important.
I mean, it is. He'd have to keep the mask on in terms of.
But his costume.
The costume is a sweet costume too.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. Like, I'm like 99% sure it's him. Maybe it was some dude he found on the internet and just sent me the picture. But I'm pretty sure it's him because I've seen him cosplay as a bunch of people.
How are you not sure then?
Because I've seen his pictures in passing, but
haven't you watched Sherlock?
I don't know that I would recognize him. What?
Haven't you watched Sherlock? You should be able to tell without a fucking doubt that that's him. I could tell you guys both where you've been every single place today because I've seen Sherlock.
Because of his face.
Yeah, I can just tell.
I wasn't following you for a second. I was confused.
I'm happy you're with me now. See, if you would have watched Sherlock, that joke would have made sense. For a couple of reasons.
One thing that's interesting to me is that Brian Hitch made a decision in circa 2000, 2001.
And it has stuck.
That it has stuck.
Yep.
It's that World War II era Captain America. His mask is a helmet, kind of, that has a chin strap.
I like it.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I really like in the very first time they ever did that in the Ultimates, it was more of a helmet, even, and like a World War II era helmet. And less,
yeah. And with a domino mask, kind of.
Kind of, yeah, and it had the chin strap. This... And like the one in the first Captain America movie, kind of looks like a Halloween costume with a chin strap on it.
Sort of.
But I dig it. It makes it more and you can tell like his pants and his shirt are made out of cloth.
Yeah.
Like he's got cargo pants on.
This issue is kind of hard to review because it's a first issue, so they're setting everything up. Not really a whole lot to note as far as character or storyline because it's.
Well, it reads very much like let's do a pulpy.
Yeah.
Captain America thing.
Yeah, it's not too pulpy. I mean, it's
just in the sense of the I guess the yep.
Oh, I didn't realize that was your point.
I didn't know what I was going to say.
It's good.
I guess mixing genres is more what I'm thinking about. Like superhero, sci-fi, war. Like those are the 3 kind of persistent genres throughout the book.
Because you're right. What happens is the fucking Deus thing. malfunctions, and then these, like he said, Giger tentacles come out.
I kind of don't know where they come from. Like, they don't really show.
Well, I think that's purposeful.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they come from off panel.
Yeah.
So my understanding was that was somehow the machine that was turning into this sort of gross looking alien type tentacle monster thing.
Yeah.
And then where my head went to from there is that Volstock, in his journey to the moon in the 60s, there was some really big fucked up malfunction, and then he became some sort of monster.
Yeah.
And then...
Or my thought was maybe part of the AI.
Well, see...
Or like maybe his consciousness is...
Well, their machine is trying to utilize dark matter. So what I think happened is, on his trip from Earth to the moon, he either was infected by dark matter somehow, maybe he even turned into dark matter, and then when their machine in present day went to access the dark matter, they accidentally accessed him. And I'm assuming when one becomes possessed by dark matter, you're just a crazy fucking rage monster. So my guess is he's like...
That's what happens when you're possessed by sunshine, so...
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go nuts. You still have your tiny little crooked teeth.
You think you would just burn to death.
You would think so.
But no, sun madness poisoning is what happens.
You can actually get
SMP.
sun poisoning, but I don't know that it makes you a pimpy...
A raging murder machine.
A pimp murder machine, no. What would you rate this out of 10?
I give it a 6 out of 10.
I give it a 6.5.
Which, oddly enough, I did like it, despite the 6. I'll read more of it.
No, that's the thing, man. Like, a 50% is a good rating for a book.
Kind of.
It is.
I mean, to me, a 50% is, like, average.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's not good, though.
Well, no,
I would rank good above average in terms of...
Well, yeah, but if I was going to say something was okay, I'd be like, it's okay. I give it 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. This book is a little bit better than okay, because Gronov's art is as good as it is.
I think it breaks in one of those things where it's like what I feel like it deserves.
Yeah.
And then there's like a side track where I'm like how much I liked it. Mm-hmm. Because there's been plenty of books where I've been like, yeah, I'd give it a 6 and then never read the second issue because I wasn't super into it or didn't care about it, but it wasn't bad.
No, yeah, and for this issue, I do want to read the next one. It's only 4 issues, so...
Is it really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the cover said 1 out of 4. So you know it's not going to be this long, dragged-out thing.
Yeah.
And
it also doesn't
Diggle.
seem... Yeah, I do too, and I like Gronov. I also liked, just like in the next book we're going to talk about, how it's not, or at least at this point, it doesn't seem tied down to continuity.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, it seems like it is probably in continuity, but
Maybe,
but it's not like, but we have to hurry because Thanos and the Infinity, like all the events that are going on, and it doesn't seem tied down to all that crap.
Yeah.
It seems very accessible.
Yeah, like they're just telling this little story, not little in the sense that it means nothing, but small in the sense that it's going to be short.
Well, see, this is the kind of stuff, like, obviously this is the kind of stuff I would rather see them do for the people who watch the Captain America or the Avengers movies and want to read something, because it's present day and in the past, which they have seen both of that in the movie.
Yeah, those are both things they've gotten.
But it seems like when they do those books, like Avengers Assemble, or like the high-profile ones where they're like, okay, this book is clearly made for the people. Like, this doesn't seem, when you look at it, clearly made for that audience.
No,
it seems like a Captain America book, but it would work for that audience.
That's the thing, is if somebody came to me who wasn't a regular comic reader and said, I really like the Captain America movie, I really like the Avengers, do you have any comics that you could recommend? I'd be like, check out this issue.
Yeah.
Because you could potentially get into this.
Yeah.
Because it has action in it. Like you said, it shows those two eras of Steve Rogers' life that they're going to be able to connect with. So
yeah,
I think this would be a good place to introduce people.
I think so too. All right, last book up, Marvel Knights Spiderman #1.
Yes.
Out of 5. It's written by Matt Kent, illustrated by Marco Rudy, and colored by Val Staples, and the lettering and production is by Clayton Cowles. Before we go any further into this,
what Emery just say?
The arc is called 99 Problems. It is.
Yeah. It is.
Before we go further into anything,
yeah,
I have just the biggest, wettest.
Let's already rephrase whatever you're going to say.
Fit of happiness.
There we go.
For who I'm assuming Clayton Cowles, because it says production. This design of the Marvel Knights books
the design
is so sweet.
The design of this issue is absolutely amazing.
It's so cool. I'm super excited about. I already was before, but They're doing a Marvel Knights X-Men and a Marvel Knights Hulk. They've already announced they're doing 3 different series. All 3 of them are by talent that's not lesser known, but like people like Matt Kent.
Well, talent that you wouldn't normally be like
crossover talent.
I want to read a Spider-Man book. Let's get Matt Kent.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't.
Or Marco Rudy even.
No, not a lot of people would say those things.
So they're
and
doing
not because they're bad, just because Marvel's like in-house style.
Yeah. It bucks that completely, at least this issue.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I've always been a huge fan of Marvel Knights, so I'm pumped that they're bringing that back.
Yeah.
Because that whole thing to me, when you're telling stories that are in continuity, but you're given a little bit more free reign, you have creators on there that basically are not known for those characters, like you just said. You're bringing in a different talent, and then on top of all that, it's usually a little bit more mature to where it's not something that's going to be for like your kid. Like you wouldn't give a kid the Spider-Man comic, probably not.
No, I wouldn't.
And not because of like adult content or anything like that, but because it's not a fun Marvel Adventures style Spider-Man book. All that being said, the story,
there isn't one.
Not really a story. It's basically Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Yeah. So I have a lot of points to award the book just for that.
It is Peter Parker.
Also, it makes me wonder how indicative of what Marvel is thinking, or maybe it makes me wonder if they made a book where they're like, we need to have him be Peter Parker.
I don't know.
Because there's people out there who...
Not only is he Peter Parker, but he looks right around the age of Andrew Garfield, which I know they don't give a... Well, they obviously do give a shit, but Sony owns the rights to the film. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a younger Peter Parker.
Yeah, he looks like he's in his 20s.
Maybe, yeah.
So as far as the story goes, there's not one. It's kind of a longer version of that Batman Black and White one where it's... it turns out that it's a scarecrow thing. He's going through this house, and there's all kinds of it's a giant drug trip, basically, in terms of
this book,
the quote-unquote story.
This book exists for the art.
Yeah.
It literally looks like it is. They gave Marco Rudy this book to showcase art. And
the what writing there is in there isn't bad. He's got a handle on Spider-Man in terms of like the basic Spider-Man things. He's also not Dr. Octopus, so
there's captions, which is Peter's inner monologue, which is a really basic thing for any Spider-Man.
Some of it's kind of bad, to where he's like,
there's some
villains that shows up that he like name checks them, basically.
He does that to every fucking villain.
Almost all of them.
He's like, Jack-o'-lantern, what are you doing here?
Yeah, he does it.
Thanks, man.
He does it to a lot of them. I interacted with this the same way that I did the Batman Black and White.
I didn't read this. I looked at it.
Yeah.
And I looked at it for a long time.
Me too. I absolutely 1,000% love the art.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It's
and
great.
Marco Rudy does stuff differently on every single page. The first page, he's got this, all of the layouts the layouts of the page composition, all that stuff is pretty reminiscent of David Mack at his best. Like he's got a lot of, not a whole lot of collage where it looks like a collage, where it actually is a collage.
No, yeah. These are illustrated layers that interact with one another in interesting ways that guide the reader's eyes.
And panels and like weird...
Occasionally he guides the reader's eye against what you are normally set up to do within a page.
He does. And I think that's intentional.
It works because when you're breaking the way a reader is supposed to read a book, meaning that if you're reading from a Western culture left to right, so you're publishing a Western comic and you're breaking that mechanism where the reader is then going to have to force their eye to go a different way than it is used to going. Yeah, it's a risk. Yeah, but it works on these pages.
Yeah, the art style, like on the first page, the two illustrations of Peter Parker are pretty clean. It almost looks like trying to think of who it would look like there in terms of another artist.
I don't know.
I can't place it either. But it's very not standard. It's standard compared to what comes later, because later on you've got like 3 pages in, you've got this giant
very stylized.
Yeah, picture. It almost looks like it's like charcoal or oil painting or something of Peter's face.
The whole issue has a kind of a mixed media feel.
Oh yeah, there's the page where something blows up, his leg turns like 18 feet long, but it not like Rob Liefeld wrong, where it looks out of proportion.
Sort
it's
of
just
like Salvador Dali, like
yeah,
this very surrealism.
That picture of Spider-Man right there is so sweet.
Well, he's using layers
at the bottom
within the art where literally it looks like Spider-Man or other characters are moving through layers. Where when they get past this certain point, the art changes.
Yeah.
Which either indicates how they feel.
It does. It reminds me a little bit of in Arkham Asylum, how with certain villains, the art style would change a little bit, which is kind of what he does here. He encounters Morbius. Like I said, the story, basically he's fighting 99 villains is essentially what's going to end up happening.
That was my biggest problem with this issue. I'm not joking.
It was the title.
As soon as Emery saw it, he laughed. And it's not just Emery.
Yeah.
As soon as Madam Web shows up, she's like, "You're going to have to solve the riddle of 99 problems." And I was like, "What? Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, obviously there are people within culture who are not immediately going to be like, "Is a bitch one of them?"
No, it ain't one.
Yeah, like, no, that's the question. But as soon as I read that, I was
Or
like,
if you're
"Oh
Cuddy,
my
they're
God."
all bitches.
That's, according to Kid Cudi. I just couldn't believe they named it that. And that...
I honestly didn't think about it right away, but it's
Well, it makes me...
not because it shouldn't be thought of. It's pretty intentional, I think.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Which is, I don't know why, but
That's one of the reasons why it bothers me so much. Because in the rest of the book,
it's not mentioned.
there is no... It's mentioned once by Madam Web, but that's the thing. There is not a single element of humor in this issue.
Oh, no.
Except for when Madam Web says that. And it seems very unintentional, because if you're going to give me a 22 or 24-page comic, however long it is, and the only thing that is
I mean, do you think it's possible
humorous,
that he wasn't even thinking about Jay-Z?
Oh, yeah, I think it's possible.
I mean, do you think that was the intention?
I don't know.
I mean, it could be possible. He might not know what rap is. I mean, we don't know Matt Kent.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that song, I don't know. Like, it is absolutely possible that he didn't do it knowing people were going to laugh because it's called 99 Problems. That is an insanely popular song.
Or it was, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it's such a big part of culture.
When I first heard, because I heard about this arc before it came out, I thought, oh, they're going to cram a ton of villains in, was the first thought I had.
Which is right, they are.
But yeah, they are. Okay, so there's one other thing I want to talk about with the art, which is
so good.
There's this page.
Oh, God.
He starts doing cross-hatching.
It looks like a fucking woodcut.
Yeah, it's so good. Frankenstein shows up.
Who did the production of this?
Clayton Cowles lettered it, and it says lettering.
So do you think he
letterer
helps
and production? My guess is that he helped do
with layout? Or
if
if that was all Marco Rudy?
No, I think it's all Marco Rudy, because Marco Rudy, it says artist, and Val Staples is color artist. Then there's a space between the credit blocks, and then VC's Clayton Cowles letter and production. My guess is that he helped design the line, the Marvel Knights relaunch.
Just the design of the entire series?
Because X-Men and Hulk have the same exact
Oh, really?
design sense on the front.
Well, but even on that page that you were talking about where Frankenstein's monster shows up, where it looks like a woodcut, where Rudy is using cross-hatching, and it's almost like a negative image.
Yeah, Spider-Man's negatived out.
The polarity switched on the top page. Then on the bottom of the page, it's, oh, God, it's so fucking beautiful.
Man, that page is great. This 2-page spread that it just looks like madness, that has like a spider separating out panels, and then in one side of the page, all the words are backwards. I didn't even try to read them, because I knew at that point it probably didn't matter.
I read them.
Do they matter?
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
I mean, in the sense that the rest of the words mattered.
Oh, okay.
They mattered just as much as the other words in this issue did.
Okay.
And I love Matt Kent as a writer.
I do too. And like I said, it's not poorly written. It's just very clearly... either way, if the next 3 issues are this, I'll be buying the trade because of
it reminds me
of the art. If the next
of J.H. Williams the third.
The layouts?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It doesn't remind me of the layouts, but
well, no, just like that page where the 2-page spread that's shaped like a spider.
That does, but J.H. Williams stuff was so much cleaner.
No, I'm not saying the actual pencil style,
but just the idea of
the layouts. The interesting visual compositions of pages, which is just another fancy way to say layouts.
This page, this 2-page spread kind of was fascinating to me because I don't know what that robot is. I couldn't stop looking at it.
Apparently that's the Beetle.
I think that's the Beetle right there.
I think that's...
Is that him on the next page too?
Yeah. Yeah, see his eye? See the eye there?
Okay. Yeah, I guess he just drew him pretty weird.
Yeah, in the foreground, he's like, on the left side of the page, he's like kind of obscured in shadow.
Yeah, because the Beetle was purple and green, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think he's red there because of
the light.
The thing on Spidey's belt.
I mean, he also is...
He's also
entangled
tripping.
in a web of children
that all have the same face, who all say the same thing over and over again.
And are robots.
They sort of look like that elf from ElfQuest, the main one with the Thor vest on.
Yeah,
I forget his name. But
the last 2 or 3 pages of the issue, Arcade shows up. Stuff gets 8-bit. There's some Matrix references of him taking a blue pill.
there are Matrix references.
And then the very last page has Spider-Man facing up with the Sinister Six and a health bar at the top, and it says "Let the games begin" at the bottom in 8-bit. And I love it because it's so weird and
it is
crazy.
very, very weird and different, and it's
I'm pumped about it. What I think it's probably
so different.
What I don't want it to be, but I'll still buy it if it is, just because of the art, because of Marco Rudy. They did a Spider-Man. I think it was 2 issues by. I think it was the dude who did. He's a UK artist. He did a lot of stuff in 2000 AD. Crap, what's his name?
I don't remember.
It was called Spider-Man Fever, and it was a Marvel Knights. I think it was 2 or 3 issues, and it was basically kind of like this. It was very, very, very psychedelic.
Did he do
tons of greens and pinks and purples?
Secret War?
No, from the 80s.
No, the other one, the Bendis one.
Oh no, that's Gabriel Del Auto.
Gabriel Del Auto.
No, this dude, I think his name's Brandon Peterson. I'm gonna look him up real quick. There was a couple issues where it was essentially the same kind of premise, to where basically Spider-Man was tripping balls,
crazy,
and it was all psychedelics. I don't want it to be that for 4 issues.
If it's that for 4 issues, they're gonna lose me.
They're gonna lose me in terms of. I'm barely hanging on by a thread in terms of story. I'm fully on board in terms of art.
There are no threads for me as far as story. It's gone, which I don't get. I guess maybe I do.
I dig on it because it's
different.
Not only is it not in any way connected to Superior Spider-Man, it's connected to nothing.
No, it's
I
its
can't
own
believe
thing.
that
it's its own complete
that they
thing.
did it.
Obviously, Matt Kent. It reminds me kind of how Lemire is, because Matt Kent is writing this in a different way than any of the other stuff that he's writing.
Yeah.
And I love that he can do that. Having said that, this is not. There's not a story.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of narrative going on other than Spider-Man doesn't fight bad guys. I mean, because he doesn't really fight anybody.
No, he runs around and says their names for a minute.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's kind of it.
It's Brandon McCarthy is the dude's name who did Spider-Man Fever, and it was a lot of this kind of stuff to where it was just zany, crazy psychedelics.
Yeah.
And it looked really pretty, but it
has kind of a Seth Fisher feel where everyone's sort of out of focusy, weird looking colors and
it's crazy. I honestly don't really like his art all that much.
I like it.
I just don't like it on a personal level. I feel like it's out to get me personally.
That was the first thing I thought. I didn't want to say it because I was afraid I was going to scare you, but I agree.
I think he's an extremely talented artist.
Yeah, I like his stuff. I don't know that I would immediately be like, yeah, put him on a Spider-Man book.
And we're talking about Brandon McCarthy.
Marco Rudy.
I also probably wouldn't think that.
I don't know that my first
see, that's what's so
crazy.
crazy.
Put him on a Spider-Man book,
it makes me wonder if someone knew he could do this, because this dude was drawn on Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like this. Well, or at least not this crazy.
That's part of why I think this book, and probably to a certain extent a lot of Batman Black and White, seems almost like these ideas sprang forth because they wanted to utilize this very specific art style.
Well, my guess with Chiarello, with Mark Chiarello, is that when they're pitching story, or whatever, they're figuring out that aspect of it, it's much more loose.
Yeah.
To where it's kind of like, as opposed to another, maybe in another editorial office where they would be like, hold on, we need to go over this more, or whatever else.
With
this kind of seems more like, that's sufficient.
With this, it almost seems like that maybe Matt Kent was like, wouldn't it be funny if Spider-Man had to fight 99 villains? And then they were like, Marco Rudy can do this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And then, that's it. That's issue 1.
I mean, and it's weird because, like I said, this is another example like that Batman book where I shifted it and was like, all right, I'm going to look at this as art.
Well, there was a couple...
on just a purely visual level, not from a narrative point of view.
There were maybe
I dug it, man.
3 pages where I was pretty pissed off. But then my head shifted.
Yeah.
Because I forget which page it was. I saw something and I was like, pretty.
It is a disappointing crossover to where you're like, okay, it's this whole series is going to be I know exactly what you're saying. I'm saying I know what you mean, because you switch over to where you're like, okay, this is going to be an acid trip.
Yeah.
Which that's fine, but Matt Kent I'm reading Super Spy, I'm reading MGM or Mind Management,
Red-Handed, all these things.
yeah, all this stuff. Or what's the awesome
Top
3-story?
3-story man.
I think it's called 3-story, like the world's tallest man or something.
Yeah, I think so. Man,
That graphic novel, which is amazing.
that book is fucking fantastic.
So he's got that pedigree where I want to see where I expect more.
Yeah.
So it's kind of disappointing when I'm like, okay, at least on this first issue,
It is.
he's not firing on that
I
level.
really like the idea that creators can do that, though. Like building
Switch.
Yeah, switch, or building this resume where I love Wes Anderson and I love Wes Anderson movies.
But he doesn't switch off Wes
He's
Anderson.
that same thing, man.
Yeah.
Like even his fucking stop motion animated film is a pretty straightforward Wes Anderson film.
Oh, yeah. Those foxes.
Yeah. So I guess I enjoy that Matt Kent can do this. I don't enjoy the writing.
Yeah, it's not.
I enjoy that he can go over and write, just like I enjoy Lemire being able to go write.
It's the same way.
Yeah.
It's usually not as good.
Where I'm like, man, good for you, Jeff. I'm going to go read your other stuff, but I'm happy that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Because I like the idea of changing what you're doing and not just doing the exact same thing over and over and over and over again. Even though when Wes Anderson makes a new movie, I'm fucking there to watch it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though, because when we watched Moonrise Kingdom, I was like, yeah, man, it's fantastic. It's really good.
Yeah.
I kind of wish you would have done something different, though. Like, there's that kind of disappointment where you're just like, I've seen this movie with different people and in different settings.
I
Like,
don't understand how people said that was his best one. Never, ever did that occur to me that was his best film.
me neither.
What'd you rate this book?
Again, looking at it from as a piece of art, I would give it high marks. I'd give it probably an 8.
Yeah.
I think that it's all together, put together, just an awesome piece of art. Factoring in the writing, it would go down a couple points. But I would encourage you, if you're looking for something that's very, very different for Spider-Man, for Marvel.
Yeah.
This makes me think of the projects like the when Mobius did a Silver Surfer story with Stan Lee. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I think in years to come will stand out as something, oh yeah, Marvel did this really weird, trippy Spider-Man thing, and that's really cool to me, and I'm attracted to stuff like that.
When you told me about that one series that they did where they had quote unquote indie creators.
Oh, Tangled Web.
Yeah. Like those things are.
I dig on that stuff, man. I think it's really cool.
This strikes me as something that will be along those lines.
Yeah.
Where when they
Tangled Web's point, or like their approach was like Batman Black and White, where you basically had all of Spider-Man's themes from like different perspectives, or whatever else.
This book, I don't know. I absolutely do think this is a book that's on the shelf right now that can show you exactly what the comic book form is capable of from an illustrative and artistic standpoint.
Yeah, visually.
Well, visually, but also even just as loose as I use the word story here. I don't know what they're going to do with it, so it could go somewhere.
It is very effective in making you feel how Peter's supposed to feel, which is disoriented.
You feel disoriented. It's hard to get a grasp of what's going on in some places. It's never visually confusing unless they are intending it to be.
Right.
It works.
It's deliberate.
It does what it's supposed to do. If you want
escapism, yeah,
this is probably not the book to grab.
No.
As far as my enjoyment of it, it's a very hard book to rate.
Yeah, it is.
Because
I mean, I understand exactly what you mean.
Like illustration wise, this is a fucking 8.
Yeah.
Like an 8.5.
So it sounds like we're on the same page.
If you wanted me to give you an overall rating of this book
with story based in,
I would give it a 4.
4 points would knock it down.
Yeah, man, it's
say that it's light is kind of a compliment.
Oh yeah, the art carries this so heavily.
I was blown away. This is so stupid and minor, but I was blown away when I saw cross hatching.
It's amazing.
And a Marvel, like, that was so weird.
It's amazing
to see that flipping the page and being like, what? Like, it looks.
That's probably the word I've said the most in this entire segment. Amazing.
It looks out of place.
Which
is cool. It's cool that it looks out of place because that means they're doing something different.
Well, I am normally a giant opponent of printing silent comics. I think they can work, and I've read some really awesome silent comics.
Yeah.
But today, like 2 of the 3 that we've reviewed
could have worked without words.
There's a lot of them that could have been silent, and I think I probably would have gotten a lot out of them still. Maybe not have, because if there weren't words, maybe I would have been like, this is silent, I'm a baby. It's hard telling.
Another thing that I dug on is what you said earlier, which is you spent a lot of time on the pages, which I did too.
Oh, I looked at these pages for a long time.
Which is pretty rare. We've talked about in the past, or I've mentioned specifically how there's different comics where I have to specifically.
Yeah.
We talked about Tim Gibson, where it's like
Yeah.
I basically hop from word balloon to word balloon and almost forget that there's art.
well, in like
And this, like, there's a page in this that I didn't even notice this until now as we were flipping through it and talking about it, is when he falls, the robot child blows up.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that he fell through a trap door
oh yeah,
in the house,
Yeah.
and then there's spikes that he then uses as a spider sense, puts on his web shooters, slides across, and then is down underneath this house.
well, the page before that,
that stuff is all minor.
that like surrealist Salvador Dali leg panel.
Yeah.
It looks as if the actual integrity of the page, like, is as the explosion happens, either those are shards in the foreground
Yeah.
of glass,
Yeah.
or it is like showing Peter's perception changing of what is happening around him.
Yeah. I mean, you have to basically take that time and look if you want to find out exactly. I mean, you can blaze through it and probably just be as disoriented because that's the point.
Yeah.
But if you look at it,
Oh boy, is it pretty!
it's all there. Did you notice that this says Marco Rudy and Matt Kent on the floor?
I did not.
That's and then it says Spider-Man 99 Problems.
I
up
saw
there.
I saw that. I saw the title page, and that's honestly pretty creepy. The way that his spider sense, like, that is representing his spider sense.
Yeah, and the way those triangles, and then especially these panels, that's the stuff that reminds me of.
There's some pretty unsettling shit.
What's his name?
In the issue.
Dancing McPaint Pants.
Oh,
David Mack.
David Mack. We saw David Mack dancing one time.
While he was painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stuff that reminds me of David Mack. That's the stuff that he utilized a lot of in that awesome Daredevil arc.
Yeah.
That
Blink, blind, sound,
oh, her name's Echo.
echo.
I'm trying to remember Parts of a Whole. Is
Isn't
the
it?
name
I
of
thought it was called Echo.
no, her name's Echo. That's when
Blink,
they
blind,
introduced her.
sound.
Blink, blind, sound.
I couldn't remember.
Blink, blind, sound.
It's a fantastic looking issue. Again, it is amazing. So you should check it out if you want to see something neat.
Yes.
And now a special news bulletin. Hideous Energy thinks you should read this. Yet more talk about reading. Really, this is the worst podcast for you if you can't read.
Also, surprisingly, we say we're a comic book podcast that talks about other stuff. This entire episode's been about comic books so far.
That's not true. We talked about Wes Anderson.
Well, yeah. I mean, as like like last week, we had we talked about the Ages of S.H.I.E.L.D. show for a little bit, and then
did.
talked at length about Waterworld.
Then also,
I mean, things like that.
And then also about, like, adult ADHD.
I think so, yeah. Mental illness.
Yeah.
Is that a mental illness?
I don't know.
Do you know for sure?
No, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
It is my suspicion that it is not classified as a mental illness.
What would it be? Disorder?
Probably like a neurological disorder,
Okay.
maybe. Mental illnesses are more like it would be like schizophrenia. I don't know that ADHD is that. There's poofy.
Yeah.
You're like, oi, I love a pool. That was Beatlemania, right?
Stereotypically British. Okay.
You should read this. Bet you didn't think this was going to happen. You want to go first? Or you want me to?
Who went first last time? I'm trying to.
You let me go first last time.
Okay.
I'll let you go first this time.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome, Davey.
My book
I'm Beatlemaniac. I don't know what's going on.
that I'm picking came out 2 days ago. If you're listening to it now,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, yesterday, not 2 days ago.
No. It would have been one.
It came out today that we're recording. However, we read it a month or two ago.
You did.
Oh yeah, you haven't read
I
it.
haven't read this yet.
First Second was kind enough to send us an advanced copy of Battling Boy by Paul Pope.
Yes.
Which is a super highly anticipated graphic novel from Paul Pope that's been in the works for a really long time.
Oh, jeez. No, seriously.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. I remember seeing art on Paul Pope's blog of Battling Boy. This is going to sound like I'm making this up. Maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's been... He's always been working on it in some form or another for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's not that long of a comic, of a graphic novel. I think it's like 120. Well, actually, it's a little bit longer. It's probably like 200 pages.
Real quick note for the listeners: if you hear weird sounds, it's because David's wife just delivered some Jamocha shakes from Arby's to us. So,
Yeah, I'm not trying to.
So we're about to fuck those things up. Arby's, we're talking straight to you. We want some free Jamocha shakes.
This to me is the definitive like example that I from now on will give people
Of Paul Pope?
no, of an all ages book.
Really?
Where it means all ages, where it's not, young readers or or like young ages, which isn't a term, and comics are like classifying it as in any way young ages.
Young ages.
But in the sense of younger readers can read this, adults can read this, teenagers. I mean, basically, it is for all ages. It appeals to.
Isn't there like murder in it?
Yeah, but not really.
Explain.
I can't.
Wait,
Well,
wait.
He's made out of Jello. Did he ever really live?
Well,
Deep, right?
I have to read this.
Yeah, none of that's in here.
No. Listen though. Before you go on, I'm going to put my hand up your shorts like this.
That's fine.
I really did it, listeners, in case you were wondering.
I was really fine with it.
No, like there's murder in a series of unfortunate events, but it happens off page, almost before the books even start.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't finished the story, so I don't know if they're actually dead or not. Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it. Also, it's not even contested that. Are you talking about their parents?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're toast.
They're actually dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's never like left for interpretation.
Okay. Good. I want those fuckers to be
Well, and there's
dead.
other people that die throughout the books too. But the thing with that book though is like part of its theme and appeal, and Hook is the macabre, is the like the Tim Burton-y kind of
dark stuff.
approach. That is not. I just remember
Approach.
approve. I just remember
It's an
that.
inside joke. No one listening knows.
Dope. Okay, so basically the book is about there is a world, there is our world, so there is an Earth.
It's not set on Earth?
Both. Hold on. There is an Earth that is kind of like ours, but it's more fantastical. The Earth has a hero named Haggard West,
Sweet name.
who is as cool as his name sounds.
He sounds awesome.
He's Rocketeer-esque. He's got a jetpack and like a bomber jacket and like flight goggles and stuff. And spoilers, that's the beginning of the book.
He sounds like he might, quote unquote, slay the vag. Is that in the book?
That's what they say. They're like, first thing you need to know as a child, battling boy, is you want to slay the vag.
Jesus
Or dick.
Christ.
We don't know yet.
No, yeah. Whatever you want to slay, man.
Whatever you want to slay. He dies, and so basically there's another world which might as well be called Jack Kirby Planet, because
Really?
that's, I mean, not in a like a
Jack Kirbyus
Jack Kirby is. I don't say that in a what's the word I'm looking for?
in a detrimental manner?
Detrimental way at all. It's very clear that the influence and the connection is there.
Yeah.
From Jack Kirby. But it's a planet. There's gods and there's beings or whatever, and you have to do this trial when you come of age. So they send you to a planet or whatever else. So that's what Battling Boy is. His dad and his mom, I think they're the king and the queen of the planet. See, it's been like 2 months since I've read this. They send him to this Earth. I think it's Earth.
I did not know any of this shit.
Yeah, for his trial. And basically, he doesn't really have any powers. They give him a suitcase, and he has T-shirts in it.
Yeah.
He has, I think, 10 or 12 T-shirts. Each one of the T-shirts, they're white T-shirts. He has white jeans on, so he kind of looks like a little Andrew WK. And they have animals on the front. And when he puts on that T-shirt, he has the abilities of that animal.
Yeah.
So if there's like a fox T-shirt, then he's very wise or cunning. If he wears like at one point he wears a T-Rex shirt.
Yeah.
And he quickly realizes that his arms are useless.
so tiny.
For real.
Seriously?
He doesn't like change, but his arms are useless. But he pieces it together in the battle. He's like, I've got really strong legs, and then he jumps like 40 stories. So
What about
he
his,
has
like, jaw strength.
I think so. Yeah, he doesn't bite anything that I remember, but he basically starts to piece this stuff together. So it's about his trial. It sets up this entire world and this entire universe from everything that I've read. Because when it ends, it's basically set up Battling Boy as this world's potential hero.
Yeah.
It's not a beginning and end story. So it ends in the middle of you finally see who the main antagonist is going to be. Like the shadowy figure behind everything, and then the book's over. So I immediately was pissed off because I was like, what? Because I thought it was a standalone thing.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and from everything I've read, Paul Pope is basically using this book to launch this universe for other people to play in as well, in which he will oversee. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So hopefully that's what happens.
I was going to be pissed because then my expectation was that we weren't going to get to read any more stories. for a really fucking long time.
No, from everything I read, it seems like that the point of it was for him to do this kind of definitive thing to set everything up, and then this world exists.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
I love Paul Pope's art so much.
I do. The art obviously is amazing. Paul Pope's writing for me is hit and miss. Sometimes I connect with it really well. Like I really liked not Heavy Liquid.
100%.
No, I haven't read either of those. One Trick Rip Off and other stories. There was stuff in there that I really liked.
Batman Year 100.
Batman Year 100. And this is really good too. He's got a good handle on Battling Boy himself, his relationship with his dad, which I really liked. Obviously.
Surprise.
And then the idea of basically taking responsibility and like stepping up when you're scared and being so it's got all those lessons in it too. It's really awesome, dude. I really liked it.
I'm super pumped to read it.
Yeah, you'll dig it.
You got to keep this one because I got to keep the Lucy Nicely relish that we got.
Yep, sure did. On the back, there's 3 blurbs from Juno Diaz, Jeff Smith, and Scott Westerfeld.
What's Juno Diaz say?
Smashingly Beautiful, a thunderclap of a book.
I love Juno Diaz.
Yeah, I do too.
Briefly, let's talk about Juno Diaz for a second. I sent David a quote of his that I found where he was talking about people complaining that The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde has too much Spanish in it. He said, this is literally what he said, motherfuckers will read a book that's in 1/3 Elvish. But then if you put even just a little Spanish in their book, they think we're taking over. I love them so much.
One thing, if you are interested in reading Battling Boy, there is, especially if you go on Amazon or any site like that, they'll link you immediately to a comic called The Life and Times or The Life and Death of Haggard West.
I'm happy you brought this up because I was going to bring it up.
Yeah, because I read this and I was like, man, I want to read that, because I looked it up and it said that it was that Pope basically envisioned it as, because it's the Life and Death or The Life and Times of Haggard West issue number 101 or 102.
Yeah.
And Pope envisioned it as this is the last comic book of this guy's series before it in their world or whatever.
Before Battling Boy shows
So
up.
it's from First Second as well. It's like $2 or $3.
Yeah.
So I bought it. It's the first like 20 pages of Battling Boy.
Yeah, complete waste of your money and time, so don't do that.
So don't buy it unless you really want to support the book. If you really want to support the book, buy Battling Boy, because then you get all of it. So that kind of made me mad, but it's really good. And if you maybe look at it that way, if you're not sure about reading this, then you could buy that for $3, and then if you like it,
why would you not be sure about reading this? It is featured on our segment. You should read this.
Maybe if you're unsure. And you're your own individual with that we respect. Or maybe you're a big dumb stupid face.
There we go.
There it is.
I would probably throw a cuss word in there.
Yeah.
Fuckers. Something.
So yeah, you've probably heard about this book because everybody's talking about it, especially right now on Twitter. People won't shut up. I just wish people would mind their own business on Twitter and stop spamming my timeline.
I
like to only see my tweets.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's awesome. The art's great. The writing's great. It's a great book.
I really like Paul Pope's coloring scheme too. It's almost nothing but flats, but somehow his art still has pretty awesome depth, even though
he's great, man.
Definition.
The only thing that I sometimes don't like of his is his lettering. Sometimes his lettering gets a little out of control.
Yeah.
Who he does amazing work with is Jerry K. Fletcher.
Really?
Jerry K. Fletcher has been his dude on a lot of projects. Like he did Batman Year 100. He did stuff in One Trick Ripoff. Jerry K. Fletcher's got a good handle on, and still making it look Pope-esque. Yeah. Pope-esque.
Yeah.
But sometimes Paul Pope, like, it seriously looks like he's trying to letter how he draws. Or how he paints, which is to just like kind of just slobber the words on the page.
Yeah, you can't do that sometimes,
and it doesn't work. And
sometimes you can.
It's pretty reined in, and it works.
I'm pretty excited to read it. The book that I am going to suggest you read is Powers. Now, it's not the Powers that you think I'm going to suggest.
You've already suggested that too.
I have. What I'm going to suggest is the Powers script book by Brian Michael Bendis.
And I'm assuming that there's some caveats here.
There are some caveats here.
Maybe love writing and
that's the thing.
Don't want to read a comic.
If you want to read a comic book, this is a bad decision.
This is not one.
It is a comic book in the sense that this is the lattice work of what would create a comic. If you're interested in craft, not even just the craft of writing, but specifically the craft of comic books and how a comic book comes about, this is a good tool to have. It prints the scripts of, I think it's Who Killed Retro Girl, and then maybe it might be that entire Who Killed Retro Girl trade. I can't remember what all's in here.
I saw some illustrations when I was flipping through it.
Well, no, there are a few illustrations, and I think that makes this book even more powerful than it would be if it was just the script.
I remember when you bought this, it was at a C2E2 because you picked it up and you were like, "Should I get this?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude," because you had never read Powers at that point.
No, I hadn't.
You bought the script book before the comics.
And this script book has done a lot for me. Formatting is one of those things as far as writing a script that it doesn't really fucking matter. Like, if you format your script, there are seriously 19,000 ways to format a script. Page 1, frame 1, however you want to write it. It doesn't matter. This shows Bendis and Oming forming a relationship as writer-artist, and you can see the content beginning to change based on how they work together.
Does he do notes for Chris Eliopoulos in there, like for the lettering?
No, because I don't know if he still does or not. This is one thing I actually wanted to talk to you about. In the intro to this book, Bendis talks about how that's his favorite step that he does on all of his books, is supervises the lettering.
Oh, really?
Specifically the placement of the balloons. Yeah. I don't know if he still does it or not.
My guess is no, because I saw a conversation between Chris Eliopoulos and him one time where Chris Eliopoulos was like, it was like a fake angry tweet with a winky face where he was like, sometimes you have to letter these books and it takes your entire afternoon to do a 2-page spread. And I think he tagged Bendis in it. Yeah. And he was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm lettering one of your stupid Powers books.
See, here, I'll read verbatim from the intro by Bendis. He says, some of the hardest things storytellers have to accept are that they can't control the environment in which their work is read or their readers' mindsets, which is a perfect fucking review of our show. So they have to try to control the flow and timing as best they can. This is so important to me, and it's probably the thing that drives my editors craziest about me. This balloon placement and final polish is my favorite part of writing comics. It's so much fun to have a pile of finished art to craft your words around. It's a beautiful feeling to see the work of an artist who is on the same page as you. I imagine it must feel quite similar to a film director and his editor when they have piles of really good footage to put together. So he says he lettered the first 3 issues of Powers himself, but he said he's since left that to the professionals. But when he's not lettering, he does balloon placements. So, and then he says, again, this is on every book I write, whether creator-owned or work for hire. See, I'm imagining that has changed at this point, if for no other reason than time, because he writes as many books as he does.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine it would be hard for him to, I don't know. I wonder how they would do that in terms of crediting, because that's a lot of the work. That's most of the work.
Balloon placement?
Yeah. So, like...
Well, no, if somebody's like, yeah, you can letter my book. I'm going to place the balloons, though.
Oh, I'm dragging text into your circles. Like, that's all the lettering is at that point.
Which I guess...
And some masking maybe behind, like, borders, but...
Well, I guess depending on somebody's definition. Because technically, would you still be doing some lettering? Yeah.
Yeah, you would, but I don't know. I'm going to tell you something. I don't think it's going to get me in trouble because I haven't actually done anything yet. I'm going to rob a bank.
I was going to say, it depends on what you're going to tell me.
There's a dude at Blue Water who's doing a book. This was like a month or 2 ago. And he was writing it and illustrating it, and he wanted me to letter his layouts. He wanted to make layouts, and then I would letter them, and then he would do the art basically around where the balloons would be. And ultimately, I didn't end up doing it because I asked Darren, the editor, like, do you want me doing this or do you want me to doing something else? Because my whole thing there is lettering books that need to go out. Like, the art's done, the writing's done.
Yeah.
They need to get them out there, so I'm lettering books.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do this. I don't mind. But it was just a really strange concept to me.
It's kind of a backwards process.
And I don't really know that I want to do it. Like, I'll do it if they need me to do it, obviously, but it seems very strange to...
Well, lettering a layout as opposed to lettering a final page. It work.
I even mean having the writer involved like that, like to the point where he's basically placing it to where...
Well, that's one of the things Bendis talks about in the intro, or at least somewhere in the book, is about after he sends a script to Oming does a page, Bendis then has to look at balloon placement and think about guiding the reader's eye. but he also has to think about how many of his words he can cut, which I know you have experienced just based on stuff you've lettered of mine.
Yeah.
Where you'll be like, dude, like, this balloon's not going to fit. And I'll be like, all right, I don't know why I had him say just, like, cut all these fucking words.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things
which is a privilege to have that scenario
Oh, no,
where I
yeah.
can go to you and
Yeah.
you can cut stuff.
yeah,
That's usually not the case.
that we're that close together.
Yeah.
Even just distance wise.
Yeah. Well, or that you're involved in that capacity, because most stuff in that, what Jerry K. Fletcher said in that interview that we did with him seemed to be the case for him professionally, was he doesn't talk to the writers.
No, yeah, he gets
the stuff and he
gets the
letters
stuff
it,
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think most of the time when that stuff has come up, it's never been a hard decision. It's never been me having to change something that's going to alter the story completely or alter the comic irrevocably or just so amazingly, like, blatant.
Which
that
do you
it
think
fucks
that's
everything up.
My guess is because, I'm sure there's part of the writing craft process to where you're always editing and all that stuff. But
Oh, yeah.
But it makes me wonder too if the element of having the finished art there and having it on the page.
Yeah.
Like when you're writing a script, you're sitting there with a blank piece of paper
Well, that's
or a
the
blank
thing
screen.
is-
But when you're looking at it on the page, you can look at it and see, oh, okay, if we cut that, this page will still work, and with the art and everything,
Most of the
visually
time,
it'll still make sense.
something that I've had to come to terms with and figure out how to deal with, and it's a very simple concept, but is that you can fix these things very easily.
What things?
Writing. Like, you can fix these drafts you're doing. Because I used to get really caught up in the idea that what I was writing was the book. Like, this is the book I'm writing. Well, no, it's not. Like, this is a step to get there.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, it was so hard for me. I forget whose quote it is, but I was reading a quote from this writer in Poets and Writers magazine, and she was talking about how she had to get over the idea that while she was working, it didn't feel like it felt to her when she read a book. And that was such an amazing, like, moment for me where I was like, holy fuck. Like, I totally understand that, and I have felt that exact same thing. Where I'm sitting at a screen or a page, you know, however I'm doing it, I don't have the same feeling that I have when I'm reading a novel.
Yeah.
And there had been just fucking thousands of days in my past where that would have derailed me because I felt like I wasn't achieving something.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't achieving the right thing because I wasn't having this thing evoked within me, where if I pick up, like, Battling Boy and read it, it's going to be a completely different experience for me than it is if I'm writing Battling Boy.
Yeah, I understand that.
And when you're reading this script book, it's like when we read fucking cat toys everywhere. It's like when we read, or at least it was for me, like the Joiners in 3D script that R.J. Ryan sent to us. Like, I like reading that. I have these visuals in my head, and I'm latching onto the story and the characters, but it's nowhere near the same experience that I'm going to have when I'm reading their comic.
Yeah.
And that's how it is with this. Like you said, if you want to read a comic book, if you don't care about craft, if you don't care about seeing how these things are put together, then this book probably isn't going to be one that you want. But if you enjoy those things and you think you could get something out of reading a script or seeing a page of Bendis' script translated into a page of Oeming's art, this does work really well as a companion piece to the Who Killed Retro Girl trade, but there are pages of art in the book that show, like Bendis says, you know...
Or if you really like Powers and Bendis.
Yeah,
I mean,
if-
because I would probably buy this book eventually, if for no other reason to
I love this book.
read through it. There's an Ultimate Spider-Man one, too.
Is there really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A script book that he did.
This book, I love it. I carried it with me for a really long time in my bag whenever I would go anywhere. I would refer to it when I was thinking about, most of the time when I would refer to it, it would be when I was trying to relay some sort of panel idea to the artist.
Yeah.
Because Bendis, he's very loose with his descriptions most of the time as far as how the panel should be laid out with Oeming, but I think that's partly because of how tightly they work together. Because he'll literally say, this panel has this page has 6 panels on it, and it's Walker walking up to the front of the police building. And then the rest of it's literally just dialogue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just dialogue. And then you see what Oeming did.
Did they show pages in the script book ever?
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, of the comic.
Oh, yeah,
Of the finished art.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Well, I didn't. Well, you said it as a companion, so I didn't know if you had your trade with you too.
It does work that way, like if you had the trade next to you, but they have actual pages in here.
But I mean, it's not per page
No,
script, right?
no.
Yeah.
They'll select a page every once in a while to show you the comparison for what the script is, and I think some of them even have layouts like just rough pencils.
Okay.
Which I think Oeming does with a. It looks like they're seriously with
An iPad
a
or
marker.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is before iPads.
Oh, that first one, yeah.
Yeah, but I love Oeming stuff so much. That's
one of my favorite books, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so
Powers.
unique.
I mean,
I still need to read that third hardcover. Maybe I'll have it on. You should read this next.
You should read the next 5. You have a lot more of it to read.
Oh yeah, I do.
There's like
Those hardcovers I have are so sweet.
there's 14 trades, I think.
I'm so happy
15?
I didn't have any of those trades yet, except for Retro Girl.
Yeah.
So that I could get those big hardcovers. But yeah, if you like reading comic scripts or just scripts or seeing behind the curtain a little bit and seeing how comics come about or processed, you're a huge fan of Bendis, Powers, Oeming, any of that stuff, I suggest you should read this. It's just such a cool look into the mechanics of story, which is something that Bendis really, really loves and takes note of. That's one of the reasons I love Bendis so much is I just know that he loves story.
Yeah.
The concept of story and the idea of storytelling.
I'm gonna buy his book next year.
I'm so
And I
fucking
don't even write
excited
comics.
for that book. What's it called? Bendis has a book coming out about writing comics.
It's more than just that. It's about writing and producing from like the entire process. Like it's writing and business stuff too.
Really?
Yeah, it's not just writing.
I didn't know that.
Let me see if I can find. I don't know if it's on Amazon yet.
Huh.
Bendis
Yeah, I'll definitely end up getting that then.
writing, maybe.
Yeah, just type in Bendis writing and see what happens.
Nope.
What's that? Write Good or Die?
That's not him. That's a free book for Kindle though.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't see it. I know it comes out next year though.
What's free, man? I mean, I have to get it or I'm going to die.
I mean, Bendis' book is coming out next year.
Oh, no,
It's
I knew
free.
that. I knew that.
Well, I know the way you said that after what I said made it sound like it's free. It's not free. You'll
No.
have to pay money for it.
Bendis' book is not going to be free unless you want to steal it, in which case you're a fucker.
Okay. Have you ever been alone in the woods and you needed a hatchet, but also you kind of wanted to read Action Comics?
Yes.
That's happened to me. Only it was kind of a similar situation. I was in the desert and I needed Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes.
Luckily, DCBS was there for me. Discount Comic Book Service. You can find them on dcbservice.com.
Yes.
Online, they will throw out parachutes of supplies and comics, little like parcels like in Lost where they drop food
Yes.
onto the island. Is that your line?
No.
Okay. And get you with your comic book fixins.
They will.
DCBservice.com, you can get so much awesome stuff on there for discounted prices.
A lot of really good prices.
Anything you can think of. If you want to buy that gross Catwoman issue, they got it.
That is there.
If you want to read it, they're going to charge you for it, but they'll charge you like half off for it.
They will give you a really good deal on it. You can also follow them on Twitter.
DCB Service, yeah.
DCB Service is their Twitter handle.
If you're in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, stop by their store. We've already told some hilarious stories about stopping in there. Like they'll punch you if you want them to.
We've said a lot of really
They'll
funny
high
things.
five. Seriously, if you go in there, we'll play it straight this time. They'll have a conversation with you and talk to you.
They'll talk to you. They'll be nice. They'll sell you some comics. And then right after you leave, you can go to the Chinese place that's next door.
Yeah, it's great food.
We almost always go there.
We always do.
Go to DCBS.
Go to DCBservice.com and get some comics.